Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
What's up, WFO Radio? How's everybody doing out there? Joe Castello back with you, and we are getting ready for Race 3 of the NHRA Countdown. That's right, Charlotte, this weekend, ZMAX Dragway, the Bellagio. Will you be there? It doesn't matter because I'll be there. And hopefully you'll be watching on Fox Sports 1 or NHRA.TV if you cannot be there. But it is a pivotal race. We are entering the second third of the NHRA Countdown, and there are some teams that have their backs absolutely against the wall. One is Clay Millican. They are 10th in the points, about 107 out. It's not impossible, but they've got to win this race. That's the way I look at it. You got to win this race. Is there a must-win situation in the world of NHRA drag racing? And it is right now for Clay Millican, must win to propel himself into the conversation. They beat Steve Torrance, first race out, second race, lost first round by a whisker to Terry McMillan. And now, race 3 this weekend. A lot of great guests this week. Clay coming up next, brought to you by these great sponsors. TotalSeal.com, the leader in ring seal technology. Piston rings for whatever you got, motorcycles, race cars, stock, super stock, pro stock, or otherwise. We're talking about piston rings, and they are vital. Go to TotalSeal.com. They even have the tools. MagicDryUS.com, Scott Palmer, skipping some of the races, but Palmer, Magic Dry in full force here on WFO. We appreciate Scott, what he's doing, what he's working. Get one of their spill kits. If you've got a big factory, go to the website, magicdry.com. They can hook it up. If you got a little shop, go to magicdry.com. They can hook it up. The official organic absorbent of the NHRA, magicdryus.com. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure, something fun you can do. It's like an experience. You go and you drive dragsters, and it can be you and a group of friends or just you with none of your friends, and you make new friends. FrankHawley.com. Go to the website, check out the dates, 2020 dates, right after the Gator Nationals would be a perfect one to do. The Dragster Adventure touring around the country, but do not forget, they do licensing courses from super gas all the way up to top alcohol funny car. Check them out. Rodax, coffeeandgrills.com, talking about Marvin Rodak, hot sauces and spice rubs. Everything good. Marvin Rodak just makes the grilling experience so fantastic and makes the morning experience better. Let's put it that way. When you fire up that coffee machine and the Rodak starts coming out and you're like, oh, this is better. This is a better experience. RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. Give them a call on samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed. Samtech.edu. There's a new factory stock podcast out there, but really it is all about the future of the sport and the future of our country. Who are going to be the builders and the doers and the makers, the people who make it possible? Samtech.edu. If nobody knows how to do anything, then we're all in big trouble. We need machinists. We need CNC machinists. If you want to build racing engines, of course, that's great. But they train for so many other different things. Check them out, samtech.edu. Also, Drag Racing Edge Magazine and EV3 Drag Racing, big supporters of WFO Radio. All right, let's get into it. Joining us now, he is 10th in the point standings, and he is in a must-win situation. Clay Millican, welcome back to WFO.
Man, thanks for having me on. I always love coming on the show. It's always a lot of fun, and you know me, I like to talk.
I do. Yes. And when I am sorting it out and it's Monday morning or Sunday afternoon and I'm thinking about who would be interesting, right? Who would be an interesting story? We heard from Billy Torrance last week and we're mixing it up. And I know, Steve is probably going to win one or two races at some point. Clay Millican, back against the wall, Clay. First race, you beat Steve first round. You got a good car. Second race, you lose by a whisker and puts you in a bad spot. But you're only 107 out, which is manageable if you go out and have a big performance in this race. Let's talk about that first.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. If you just look through our season at how many races we have lost by thousands. It's been several of them. I mean, final rounds included. We lost Gainesville by a few thousandths. In final round, we lost final round in Sonoma by a few thousandths. Indy, a few thousandths. It's a bunch of them by a few thousandths. And we kept saying, that's got to turn the other way. And we thought, well, it is turned the other way when I beat Stevie first round at Reading, and not only was that a big deal for us, but really it was a big deal for the entire Top Fuel field because we took the points leader out first round, and then I'll be dang if we don't lose by a few thousandths at the second countdown race. It just shows you how competitive, these Nitro cars are right now. It's unbelievable how close it is, how every thousandth matters because we have won and we have lost by literally thousandths of a second. I mean, it has become a running joke. My family, my sister, my brother-in-law, they bracket race, and I make references every now and then about how consistent our car is, or how consistent my lights were, or whatever. And it all goes back to I'm still a bracket racer at heart. My family bracket races, and we're them 00 losses suck. It doesn't matter if you're in a Top Fuel car or a bracket car. I played the PJ North song for my intro song. You always introduce me on Friday nights. Be 00, take 00, and it's hard to be 00 on the trio in the Top Fuel car without a guess. But I certainly have lost plenty 00 at the finish line this year, no doubt about it.
Yes, yeah, and well, let's dive into a couple of those things momentarily. I love that you represent yourself as a bracket racer. So do I. I got a buddy who watches Street Outlaws, and he watches all the shows, and he always says that he's been to see me race one time, right? But he says, "Hey, Joey, I never realized that in the racing community, the bracket racers are known as the best drivers." And I'm like, he's from Jersey, if you couldn't tell by my Jersey accent. And I'm like, well, and so through that show, whenever there's a bracket racer driving, they always respect the guy's, launching reaction time ability. And so I think that's cool to have out there. If that's what the masses know about the bracket racers, I love it.
Oh, me too. And it's true. I mean, I follow along, I keep up with what everybody's doing. Today, and this is kind of off subject, but today it is amazing how many big dollar bracket races there are. I mean, we're talking these things are paying 5-10 times what we can win, in a Top Fuel car, but you have got to be on the money, on the starting line, on the finish line. It's brutal out there. The bracket race world is just crazy tough these days.
Yes, and you need a lot of luck too. Like that is the to me, it's I got such love for bracket racing. Typical Joe Clay conversation, by the way. We're off the rails in the first 5 minutes. This is how it goes whenever you come on, because we end up just chatting about things we're interested in, which is great. It's the Texas Hold'em of racing. We just got to figure out how to show what it is. Years ago, the idea of watching a bunch of people around a table playing cards would not have been a captivating thing. People would not have been interested in. I do believe that now that there are literally, $500,000 on the line to someone to win, it can be something that we figure out how to show on TV in an exciting way. I have some ideas. I keep them to myself because hopefully someday I'll get the opportunity to do that. But, hey, Clay, let's talk about something that came up on the starting line, though. Before we go too far, I would imagine there might be some people listening specifically for this, in that you had a great race with Terry McMillan, right? The announcer nightmare. We joke about it, Millican and McMillan. And Rob Wendland, he won the race, but he was a little gutted, too. And he is the one who informed me and the public that you had a loss in your family. And so I just wanted to say, before we go too far into this, obviously, on behalf of WFO, condolences on the passing of your mom. It had to be very challenging to go out there and compete literally just hours after that.
Yeah, it was. And, my mama, every mama is special, without a doubt. Boys are definitely, they love their moms. And, it was bittersweet, because my mama literally spent her entire life getting ready for the afterlife. I mean, my mama taught Bible school, Bible classes every week. You know, if the door of the church was open, she was there. She shared, you know, her beliefs to anybody and everybody that came into their little grocery store. You know, she's a true believer, and 100% her entire being was to be prepared for what happened, you know, Saturday, September 28th. You know, she was very special. I mean, you know, I guess you would say, gave the eulogy or whatever this week for her, which, you know, that was obviously very hard to do. But at the same time, you know, it's one of those things where when somebody is prepared, it is not a sad day. I mean, and this is something that everybody can't seem to do, myself included, but the fact is we should cry when a baby is born and rejoice when somebody passes away, because that means they've completed their work here on this earth. And when a baby's born, they're just starting a really long, hard journey of what we call life here on this earth. And, you know, so, you know, I didn't bring it up, you know, at the races or whatever. You know, certainly, you know, people found out about it or whatever, but I had a crazy week. You know, we raced in Reading. I came home from Reading. I flew to Washington, D.C. to go visit with some members of Congress about Your Car, Your Data. I flew home from Washington, D.C., and then I flew to San Diego for a Parks Plus event, flew right home, hopped in my old motorhome and drove to St. Louis. And when I was on the way to St. Louis, you know, my sister called and said, Mama's not doing well. So I parked the motorhome. We bring a little bitty car with us. I got the motorhome parked and left Donna there, and I turned around and drove right back home the same day from St. Louis, and pretty much got back to the hospital at 1 o'clock in the morning. Mama was asleep. I went to write her a note. When I walked back in, she woke up and she said, "Why are you here? You got to be in St. Louis. You got qualifying tomorrow. Get out of here. Go race. Go have some fun. Go smile and stomp on that loud pedal." I mean, that's what my mama told me. You know, so anyway, you know,
Wow.
My mama is where she's prepared her whole life to be. You know, she's up there looking down on everybody, you know, not just me. I mean, she was truly, and I mean this truly, and anybody that knew her will agree with it. She was truly a saint here on this earth, and now she's a angel and a saint looking down upon us.
Wow, Clay. I'm with you in that. I try, and I know it's going to be very challenging for me. Like, I love my parents so much, and they've been so great to me, and I have such positive things to say. And, you know, everybody's time is coming. And it's just so great that you got to have a final interaction with your mom. Like, you got to go and show and be there, and she saw you and you saw her, and you guys got to have a moment. Like, a lot of people don't get that. That's really, like, in a negative situation or however we want to label it, right? That's a big bonus.
Oh, for sure. You know, I mean, so many people don't get that opportunity. You know, I didn't get that opportunity with Dalton, and, you know, but I truly believe that wasn't the end, and that wasn't the last conversation. It was just the last one here on this planet. I
agree. I mean, you know, like, as far as, like, what the specifics are, you know, that's where it gets a little cloudy. But I think there's definitely, especially for the really, really good, like, good-hearted people out there, there's something, you know. And then here we are, right? Like, you're going racing this weekend. You're walking the halls of Congress. You're you know, taking care of business down here. You're a very busy guy. You definitely, at least you have a little distractions away from that specific thought.
And I just got home from Budds Creek, Maryland. Supercharger Showdown. We were there Saturday got to race with Dom Lagana and Bobby, and man, that was fun going back to Budds Creek, which is a place where I set the IHRA speed record many, many years ago, and it was fun going back to Budds Creek. They had a lot of pro mods there, which, that area of the country, is definitely stacked with door cars, and, they have the World Cup there. They have so many cool things. And so, yeah, we've been busy. It's been really nonstop, and it does, help, the family situation, when you're running and gunning and you still think about them, but you're able to not kind of break down and, get too sad about it. That's for sure.
Absolutely. All right. So before I, apply all the pressure about the points in the race and stuff, let's knock down a couple of these very interesting things you just brought up. For instance, match racing, right? Everybody longs for the days of match racing fuel cars. Like, that's really how the sport got to where it is. And I don't know, I feel like maybe 6 to 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, we were having, not you and I necessarily, but in general, there was a lot of discussion about how there was not match racing and how it would be better if there was match racing, and it would be great if we saw fuel cars in other places other than just the Mellow Yellow Series. And now I'm hearing Dom he's up there in Michigan. I hear you're match racing. There's some match racing going on. What is the status, in your opinion, of the Nitro match race scene?
Well, that was the second one that I've done this year, and both of them actually were with Dom. We did US 131 in Martin, Michigan, a month or so ago. We went there to an absolute standing room only crowd. It was, the Parts Plus car. It was Dom. It was Larry Dixon. It was Pat Dakin, and it was standing room only. I think, yes, it's very expensive to have us come do that, but I think there are areas of the country that don't have a Mellow Yellow Series event anywhere near them that can make it work. It worked at Budds Creek this weekend with me and Dom there. They had a huge crowd there for that, and it is something I think the track promoter they know what kind of crowds they can get, and they know if they can afford to have fuel cars come, but we enjoy doing them, and it reminds me very much of, when I first started Top Fuel Racing in the IHRA. We're selling shirts out of the back of the trailer. It's way more relaxed, and, it's just fun. And for me, behind the wheel, it's a lot of fun because I get to go out there and do big old long burnouts and just, have fun with it, and you got to make sure that you get the car to the far end of the racetrack because, whoever hired you to come in, you gotta do a good job for those guys and make sure they see numbers on the scoreboard. And I don't know, I think that match racing can still be done if it's, at the right track, the right promoter. We did 2 this year, and they both were successful for the promoter that paid us to come in. And so who knows, maybe more promoters will start looking at it, and maybe some more match races will pop up.
Wow. Well, I like that idea. I agree that I think that one of the great challenges of NHRA Mellow Yellow drag racing is that you can only see Mellow Yellow drag racing at Mellow Yellow Series events. And, just the appreciation of a nitro car, a big show, professional level nitro car is something that is amazing, except, there's only so many places that you can see them, and that kind of holds us back a little bit. So who won? Like, how did it work? What was it? Was it 2 out of 3? How did you guys do it?
It was just 2 runs, and Dom kicked my butt on the first one, and I beat him on the second one. It was, just 2 runs, but we both ran really well. The first run, Dom went 384 at 323, and I shook the tires and pedaled it and got it down through there, but it wasn't, it didn't outrun Dom. And then the second run, he shook the tires and pedaled it and got it down through there, but I went 380 at 322. So, 2 very good runs, with a track that's got a bracket race going on and pro mods going at the same time.
That's exactly the fun of it. Back to the bracket racing conversation. Like, that's the kind of fun event, like the local bracket racers. You don't want to be, there's going to be fuel cars, there's going to be pro mods. You got a big crowd in the stands. People are coming up that you've never seen before, looking at your car and like giving you compliments or telling you they had one like it. And it makes the bracket racers feel like a pro. And that comes when there's a big crowd there, and only the big crowds come out when there's a reason to, like Nitro cars.
And not only that, I saw something I've never seen before. I actually videoed it and posted it on social media. Gary Pritchett was driving Bunny's car, Bunny Burkett, for you the folks that don't know. Gary Pritchett was driving it, and he called out a Jet Funny car, and they match raced each other. A Jet Funny car and an Outcall Funny car, side by side. That was pretty cool.
And who won?
And another... the run that I posted, Gary got a little out of the groove and had to click it off early, and the Jet Funny car went 580, and I think Gary went like 620. So the Jet Funny car actually got the win light on the run I saw, but they made a couple. But the first one they made, we were trying to service our car, and I could only hear it. I didn't get to see it. But can I tell you a quick story about the first match race I ever done?
Yes, of course.
And this was the very first year that Peter Lehman had bought a Top Fuel car. We did a match race at Englishtown. They were famous for their 4th of July, week match race. It was huge. Well, this was a naive country boy from Drummond's, Tennessee, and we had a match race at Englishtown on Wednesday night against Shirley Muldowney. And then we were just talking about Mama and going to church, which means I went to church all the time as well. And in my part of the world, Wednesday night is church night. And well, here they got us scheduled to do, a Wednesday night match race against Shirley Muldowney. And I keep thinking to myself, well, nobody's going to be there. It's church night. We go to church around here on Wednesdays and Sundays. And so we went with a very short crew, and I was actually bolting a cylinder head on, and Mike Clover was, helping with the clutch. We went very, very short crewed, and so we got the car ready to go. And a lot of you folks will remember Englishtown, from the pit area over to the racetrack. You're kind of hidden from what's happening, in the grandstands and all of that, because they had that big wall up, and you pull the car out from under this huge wall. And so I'm already strapped in the car, and they pull me around the corner, and I'm racing Shirley, so I'm already nervous. It's my first match race, but I'm still fully expecting there to be like 20 people there. I just didn't expect much. But when we got around that corner and pulled out from under that big giant tower, it was as many people there as any event you will have ever went to on a Wednesday night in Englishtown, New Jersey. Absolute crazy, incredible. They had a monster truck there, which was actually Tom Mintz, driver of the Max D. He was there. And we did that match race for a couple of years, and that was an incredible experience. And that was a track, I was just talking about promoters and tracks. That was a track that always did well with match races, and it was still just odd to me for it to be on a Wednesday night, but they knew what they were doing up there. The Knapp family had it going on with the match race thing for sure.
Oh, you just made all the Northeasterners a little sad, though. But listen, my dad always told me that, right? It's a different kind of reality. Like, you do have a little time to go out and do some stuff on a Wednesday night, and you're in the Northeast. Everybody's this a rapid pace always. The rat race people talk about. You get a good chance to go do something fun on a Wednesday, and they were packing them in. Like, I heard, 20,000 people or something to see some of those races on Wednesday nights at E-Town. And I believe in it, too. I think that, not to personalize it too much, but like here in South Florida, we have kind of a hole in our racing community, right? Like, the Miami area doesn't have an official track. We have got pit road at Homestead Miami Speedway, where I announce, and we're getting like 322 cars just to test and tune on a kind of a makeshift track, to say the least, right? Then there's Palm Beach, where very well. You've been to Palm Beach, but they don't do a whole lot. They allow third-party promoters go out there. But I remember days of packed grandstands, packed houses. you got to do stuff, right? If the people are going to come, you got to get them in a groove, like, hey, there's going to be entertainment here. If we had a concert venue, Clay, and we popped it up and had a band there once or every 3 months, probably wouldn't, get people going. But once you start doing it on a regular basis and you let people realize, no, there's going to be fun here. We're going to do this on a regular basis. It's going to be our thing. We're going to have cool, fast cars. Come out, eat some good food, hang with your friends, watch some bracket racing, and see a couple of cool cars once a month. I think it's a good business model. I think it can be successful even today or more today.
100% agree, without a doubt. I mean, I know, West Palm Beach has obviously, been around forever. And matter of fact, I know the No Prep Kings is on the way there, I think, this weekend.
Yes, they are.
They got an event there, and those things, have been very good for a lot of the tracks that they've been going to, and so I don't know. I just feel like drag racing's in a good spot right now, and things are, growing, and, love it or hate it, I 100% believe that the TV show Street Outlaws, No Prep Kings, all that has got people that never paid attention to drag racing. They're out working on cars and they're buying parts, and I truly believe that the majority of those people are going to a local racetrack to have some fun, So I think drag racing's growing and doing good, and man, I've successfully been avoiding the whole points thing and what we got going, but me and you always seem to get sidetracked.
We do. Well, that just seems to be... And I think people like it, too. So let's continue the sidetrack. Don't worry. I'm going to bring it home with a big finish. But you go, when an NHRA drag racer goes up and walks the halls of Congress, we don't ever talk politics on WFO, but, we are aware that we have a government, right? Like, we support the success of the United States of America. You went up there to lobby for an issue that you kind of brought to our attention for the very first time earlier this year with one of your sponsors, which is basically something that I think everybody is interested in. I hadn't thought about it since you mentioned it. Now I'm on your Twitter feed, and it's like, oh, wow, you know what? Here's an important issue. And so I would like to know what you found out. The issue, for those that don't know, is that your car, just like everything, is tracking elements of your life, right? Your data. And I just was listening to a podcast, Clay, with Edward Snowden a couple of weeks ago about the mobile devices, like who you called, where was the call from? Was the call received from a hospital? Oh, you were in the hospital. You know what I mean? And they can track your life motions and make decisions and sell those decisions based on things. This is talking about your phone. Your car is also doing something similar to that. Is that what's happening? Is that what you were talking about?
Absolutely. So, your car, your data is basically an initiative to raise awareness of what is happening with cars, new cars in particular. We've all had cars and the check engine light comes on, and, you go to your local shop and right under your steering column somewhere or another, there's an onboard data entry point, OBD. They plug in, they find out what's wrong with your car, and they fix it, and the check engine light goes off, and you roll on. Well, the new cars are getting to the point that the manufacturers are not going to allow for a local shop to access that information. They're essentially, sending this off through the airwaves of what your car's doing, and so they're not only keeping the information from your car, but they're gathering all this data, and they're selling it. And what you don't realize is you're signing away those rights when you buy that car. There's so much paperwork involved that you're signing stuff that you don't really know you're signing, and it's just incorrect that the cars are weighing you. They know what you weigh. They know how fast you drive. They know how hard you use your brakes. They know what radio station you listen to. They know because we plug our phones in. I'm sitting in the car right now using Bluetooth. I'm sitting still, and they know all of this information, and they're taking this information, they're selling it to third parties without your say-so, and the main thing I'm concerned with, obviously being sponsored by Parts Plus is, and being a car guy myself who likes to work on my own car, is I own this car. I own the information that this car is producing, and if I want to work on it, if I have a check engine light on, I should be able to access that information myself and either take it to the local shop, to the guy that I've taken cars to my whole life to fix. You know, I shouldn't be limited to having to take my car back to the dealership. And if things continue the way they're going, that's what's going to happen. And if they do allow the local shops to fix them, the local shop is going to have to pay the manufacturer to get the information out of the car that you bought yourself. You know, I mean, it's no different than a Top Fuel car that makes a ton of data. The guy who owns that Top Fuel car owns that data. You know, he's paying the tuner, and the tuner, you know, is putting the information in he wants in there, but he is being paid for a job. We purchased this car, and we're the ones that are driving it, and so we own everything about it. We're the ones making the payments on it, or if it's paid for, and, you know, not me, this car's not paid for, but but I'm still making payments on it. You know, I own it, and it's just one of those things that, you know, more Big Brother watching, and you know, we don't like it, you know, and I think if you own the car, you own the data. This is pretty simple. And so what we're trying to do, you know, with going to visit some congressmen, you know, they're trying to get it in front of Congress to let them know what's happening, and so that, you know, a bill can be passed that prevents this from happening. You know, we need the manufacturers. I mean, you know, we got to have, you know, manufacturers producing new cars, but they can't block us out of something that we bought, and that's essentially what's happening. And obviously that was my second trip to Congress this year. You know, Stevie and I went earlier this year about another issue with racetracks, but it was pretty awesome. You know, I'm walking through the halls of the Capitol building, and I see a congressman that Stevie and I met, and he actually recognized me. You know, I'm like, holy moly, you know, I'm getting recognized by congressmen, and it's not just a congressman from Tennessee, you know. So I think it's useful and effective, but if you get wound up and excited about what's happening with your car, you know, it's a website you can go to sign a petition, and that was kind of what we did at Bristol. You know, we wanted to raise awareness and get people to go sign the petition so that Congress, you know, they pay more attention. When there's a lot of people signing petitions, it makes them look, you know, and
simple as that.
And they had less than, you know, they had, you know, they didn't have a lot of signatures on that petition. And after the weekend at Bristol, the numbers went up by the thousands, you know, and so we're just trying to keep that momentum rolling and, you know, let our government work, you know, and I truly believe that our government can still work. It's just a matter of the important things need to be brought out to everyone's attention, and that's what we're doing with Your Car, Your Data.
Well, that is great, and thank you for going into that. And you know, it does work, by the way. There's a lot of stuff happening all the time. Like there's surface fighting going on everywhere, but even in the darkest times, the government is working. How are you received, Clay? How are you received? Like, did they like it? Like, I'm already thinking not to go down this road but I'm thinking about, you know, the iPhone, right? Like, I own the iPhone. I own the pictures on the iPhone. They're my stuff, but I don't know the code that makes the iPhone work. And is that what the manufacturers are trying to do? And I think it is, and I think that this is gonna go to court, and you're absolutely right. Like, the government needs to get involved. How you were there, Chase Elliott was there, like, you had a good crew with you. What was the response? Like, you know, briefly.
I really think they get it. You know, they know if a group of people took the time to come up there and arrange for all of those meetings, that it's an important issue. You know, I mean, it wasn't like, you know, some silly something. I'm trying to think of something without.
Right, I know what you mean. Toes, like, right, the prairie squirrel mating ritual. You know, I get what you're saying.
Right. They know that, you know, this country operates off automobiles and tractor trucks and everything else, and so yeah, they're paying attention. You know, they definitely listen to what's going on, and truth is, some of them didn't know it was happening either. You know, they were like me. You know, when this first was brought to my attention, I didn't know that's what was happening. You know, you get a brand new car, you don't think about working on it until it needs work done. And then all of a sudden you can't take it to your local shop anymore. You know, I'm like, this is wrong. Somebody's got to do something. And that's what this is all about, you know, just trying to right a wrong and get the manufacturers just to simply allow us access to that data.
Absolutely. And an opt-out.
Yep, absolutely.
And an opt-out. Like, I don't want you selling my driving ability to the insurance company list so that they can say, oh, Castello, like, he's hard on the brakes. We're going to make his rates higher than somebody else. Like, that should be voluntarily.
Yep.
Simple as that.
And I'm not going to mention the name, but it's the very thing we see on one of the insurance commercials where they're asking you to plug something in to your OBD2 port. And that's what that's for. That's what they're doing. They're gathering that information to see how safe a driver you are. And obviously, for me especially, you know, I want everybody to be a safe driver. I've got a teenage driving school coming up in October. We're in October, the end of this month, you know, and I help Doug Herbert with the brakes program, but at the same time, it's just like you were talking about the cell phone. You know, what we do is our business. You know, we don't want to share that unless we want to share it. We don't want somebody just taking it from us.
Right, which is what's happening on our social media all the time. It's like a total, good and bad, good and evil, right? There's a lot of great that comes with it. It connects us. It allows us to keep up with Clay. It allows Clay to put, shirts and stuff around the country and fans to go find them. And at the same time, in the back door, different apps, taking your data and telling people where you are and what you search for. And then, ads come up. But let's move the conversation forward to something that we really are interested in, Clay. All right, brother. All right, here it is. Now's the time. 107 out. Listen, first of all, if 5 weeks ago I told you you're 107 out of the lead, you'd been like, yeah, I'll take it, right? But now you're 107 out and you're in 10th. So it's not so much the points out, 5 rounds. It's there's 9 people between you and where you want to be. You can't control when they lose. Some of them are going to win, some of them are going to lose. What you can control is you winning this race, and if you win or runner-up, you're back in the middle of it.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, we have got to, and I'm going to say this, and it's very cliche, we just got to keep going down the racetrack. I mean, yes, I lost to Terry by, I think, 9 thousandths. I kind of went over that whole 00 thing earlier in this conversation, but, so we did the match race this weekend. We made a third run. The racetrack allowed us to make a run earlier in the day before the scheduled match race to try a couple things. Here's kind of what happened partway through the year, being the small team that we are. Our car ran really well, and we finally run out of one of our clutch discs, the dreaded clutch disc. And we don't have the budget to stockpile disc like the big teams, and so we can only get them as we can afford them. And we had enough disc to make it through the first part of the year, and the car ran well. And when we had to swap a clutch disc, the performance fell off a little bit. We were still going down the racetrack, but there were some runs where we thought the thing should go in the 60s, and it run low 70s, and so it's Mike Klober and Jimmo, they're kind of pulling their hair out because we've got a clutch disc in at the moment that just is not giving us the performance that the previous disc did. And that's one of the battles of being a small team. The big teams will find a package, a combination of disc, other words, that they really like, and they will buy, pretty much all that are out there. Bonifant is the big clutch disc manufacturer, and I love those guys. I truly do. I mean, Nick Sr., who's no longer with us, I dealt with him my entire Top Fuel career. Now it's, Rob Bonifant and Nicky, and they're awesome. But if you don't have the money to buy all of a certain batch that they made, I understand that. They can't just give them to us, and they can't set them aside for us. So, I mean, we ran out of disc, right around Indy, right in that time frame there, and so our performance has fell off just a little bit. Our qualifying fell down some, and it's all traceable back to a disc, and we made a disc change because we had to, not because we wanted to. And, these cars are so complicated. You think, well, it's a silly clutch disc. You've got 6 of them in there, but that one clutch disc can affect the entire tune-up of your car. And so we're trying to, figure out how to work around the disc that we have in there right at the moment and pick our performance back up. And those 9,000 losses hopefully will turn into several hundredths of a second win. It's pretty simple. We know we got to go a little quicker, and I got to keep hitting that tree and try to be 00, and I'm not worried about taking 00. I want to take more than that.
There you go. Hey, the clutch disc thing is, we've heard it for years. Nicky has been on the show. He's explained that, when you try to make them all exactly the same, they're never exactly the same. It's to get their own thing. It's like baking cookies in many ways. And it's just, that's part of being a small team. That is a bummer. The big teams out there, they can just put down a huge financial investment in clutch discs, and that's harder to do. And it makes perfect sense. I don't know if there's a way around that or not, but it is what it is, right? There will be a race on Sunday.
That's right. And Mike and Jimmo, they're pretty crafty. I have all the confidence in the world that they will, pick the performance back up on the car. And it's not that the performance has been bad, because it hasn't, but it's just a matter of we lost a few hundreds, like say, set the car up to go 67 and it goes 70, and that is the difference in winning and losing a lot of these races, and I'm proud of what our team has done this year. Me and you covered this on another podcast of, all brand new people working on this car, and they've done an amazing job. And I still don't think we're out of it. I think, maybe with these runs we made this weekend, maybe we're a little bit closer to back on track. We were not pushing the car. We weren't trying to run 360s at the match race, but we were working on the early part of the run, and our car's kind of been stuck in the 840, 60-foot range, 840s and 50s. And the 3 times I stepped on the gas at the match race this weekend, we had 2 really low 830s, and we had 1 820, 60-foot. So, if that's any indication, maybe we have figured out a little bit of workaround on this clutch disc that we're battling right now. And I'm excited to get to Charlotte. I have done very, very well at Charlotte. I was runner-up to Stevie earlier this year during the 4 wides. And the place is just beautiful. If you folks listen to this have thought, man, I want to go to a racetrack, or maybe there's one I haven't been to, you cannot go wrong going to ZMAX Dragway. That place is beautiful, unbelievable, really great track surface, really great facility. Everything about it is just phenomenal, and there's so much to go see and do around there. Yes, the majority of it is NASCAR related, but it's just, if you're a car guy, it is just an awesome place to take a few days and go to a drag race and go check out the NASCAR Hall of Fame, or, go check out some of those race shops. It's an awesome, awesome place to go to a drag race.
Absolutely. And the track is like 20 minutes from the airport, so you don't have to go on a long drive. Very nice place, and I'm excited. I do hope that the fans represent, I know 4 wide earlier this year. 4 wide's always packed. Everybody goes out there because it's a novelty, right? The NASCAR fan or the casual observer is like, why would we go see 2 wide? But for the playoffs, it is a different atmosphere, and I hope we get a big crowd out there this weekend. I think it will be great. Clay, good luck to you. Good luck to the team. First of all, you've had a great season regardless, no matter what happens. You've had a really strong season, bunch of final rounds, all that, putting together the team on the fly. Successful year regardless, making the top 10. But you're still in it. You can climb pretty high. You've got, within 50 points, you got 5 drivers. So climb that ladder, Clay. Good luck, and thanks for coming on WFO.
Man, thank you so much. I always have a blast. And all you listeners, if you're still tuned in, sorry me and Joe get sidetracked. It happens. But, hey, we're buddies, and I love talking racing and cars, and I love talking about my mama. Thank you for having me on here, Joe, and I will see you probably Thursday afternoon.
Sounds great, Clay. Appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Clay. Clay Millican with us here on WFO Radio Podcast. Clay has been helping out on the show for a long time. Great conversation. He apologizes to you folks, and he doesn't realize, apparently, that it is my opinion that that's what you like the most. Like the racing stuff, it's mandatory. It's why we are here. Like, Clay, you are 107 points out of the lead. What do you got? What are you going to do? What's the story? And he told us all about the clutch discs. But everything else, that's what I think it makes it unique, right? We all go down our own different roads with the conversation. And hopefully you like it. You'll click subscribe, and you'll write a review and share it with your friends, because I think that's how people get to know Clay Millican also. And that's what our sport needs, is that there's athletes all over the place that you can like or dislike, football, baseball, basketball, or otherwise, right? Like, why do you like these people? Well, I think Clay just gave you a whole bunch of reasons why to like him, even if you didn't before. But I doubt that because everybody likes Clay. I know I like Clay. Now, we're going to have a great week for you. Justin Ashley, also one of our interviews this week. We're working on him as we speak. And I will be at Charlotte. He's right. If you've never gone to Charlotte, I'm really hoping for a good crowd out there. It's going to be tough. Let's just call it what it is. They just had the NASCAR playoff race, the Roval, 2 weeks ago. And now NHRA comes to town. It's kind of the reverse of what happened in Indianapolis, where the Brickyard was 1 week after the Chevrolet Performance U.S. Nationals. And, you know, we had great crowds, and they had an okay crowd, right? 60,000 people in a 250,000-person stadium. Well, the Roval was the Roval. Let's see what happens with the NHRA event, NHRA Countdown playoffs. Kind of interesting to see how it will shape up. I know Vegas is going to be packed. We know that. They've got a 4-wide race. They pack their fall race regardless. But there's SEMA. There's all those added elements. This is an event that we need to continue to work on, and I'm hoping everybody shows up. If you are within, a 300-mile drive, you got to go. And or short flight. You get one of those short flights, fly into Charlotte, come to the race. That's what people need to do. That's what I think. All right, thanks to our sponsors. I had a guy post, cut out the sponsor mentions. It's like, man, without mentioning like samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, how would all the young people out there who are thinking, oh my gosh, they're walking the plank into the corporate world and they're going to be stuck in a cubicle farm for the rest of their life, know that it doesn't have to be that way, sir? Like, how will they know, right? They got to know that they can become a high-performance engine builder, that they can wake up and have every day be different, that they can learn to be a machinist and an expert in their field, that they could potentially get a job at a great company. Motorsport EFI tuning, they could become an expert and go out there and start their own business. Samtech.edu, how would they know, sir? Or the Rodax coffee, Marvin Rodak, the hot sauces and the spice rubs. Before you get all like, well, I don't want to know about this, maybe you really need to realize you need to know about this, because Rodax coffee is what fuels the success of WFO. I'm like riding the wave of the Rodax and the amazing start to each day that gets me motivated with the aroma of the coffee beans that were roasted fresh per my order. And then during the day, like when I'm grilling, maybe I'm going to go out and grill some chicken for health purposes, but I'm going to put a little Rodax spice rub on it to make it fantastic and enjoyable. All of these things are available at RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. How would they know, sir? Right? They wouldn't know about that. Or Frank Hawley's drag racing school, the idea that you can go out and drive a dragster at 130 miles per hour for your entertainment purposes without supplying anything other than some money. You don't have to get a helmet. You don't have to get a fire suit. You don't have to do all that. Frank Hawley's drag racing school is going to do it all for you. You just show up. It makes a great gift. You send someone, a loved one, on an experience that they will love. 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds at frankhawley.com. And you can give them a call at 866-480-7223. MagicDryUS.com. Everybody's got a spill. It's spilling out right now. What are they doing? Oh, no. The spill, what are we going to put on it? Are we going to put kitty litter on it? No. Not nearly as good as MagicDryUS.com. They got the spill kits available, all sizes, the official organic absorbent of the NHRA. MagicDryUS.com. Total Seal. Piston rings. We've got a lot of engine builders that listen to WFO. I don't even know. What other company would you use instead of Total Seal? Why would you do that? Total Seal is the leader in ring seal technology. They have the tools to do the job, and they will make rings for whatever your application. So if you want to build a high horsepower project, that's fine. LS, supercharger, turbocharger, that's fine. They got it all. Or something custom, your motorcycle, motocross, dirt bike. They make the rings to fit your pistons. Period. End of story. Total Seal. Check them out at TotalSeal.com. These are the people who make it all possible, along with Drag Racing Edge and EV3 Drag Racing. And we really appreciate you listeners dealing with the fact, yes, it's a sponsored podcast. You know why? Because it takes a lot of time to do. And simple as that. You want a t-shirt? Nitro Fish Trailer at the races. NitroFishRacing.com. Rep WFO, baby. WFO. It's going to be a great week. This is just the start. Oh, yes. Clay Millican, great job. And we got more to come. Thank you, everybody. WFO.
WFO! The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
I love WFO radio.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, engine builders, Total Seal piston rings are the leader in ring seal technology, and they go out of their way to help their customers and will make custom sets for any specific piston you might have. Customer service, top notch. Made in America? Absolutely. They're located in Phoenix, Arizona, and they've got everything it takes to develop the world's best piston rings. Give them a call at 800-874-2753 or go to TotalSeal.com. You're working in the shop, you've got spills, you've spilled oil, it's everywhere. What are you going to do? I know what you're going to do, but that's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to go to magicdryus.com and order the official organic absorbent of the National Hot Rod Association, Magic Dry. It's lighter, it absorbs more, it's better for the environment. It's made out of coconut. It's made in America. magicdryus.com. They've got spill kits that include everything you need for a regular, normal household spill, all the way up to a large industrial spill. We always say, if you've got a cat, get Cat Spot. If you've got a shop, if you've got a factory, if you've got a spill, call Magic Dry. That's magicdryus.com. Attention adrenaline junkies, Frank Hawley's Dragster Adventure is calling you. Rides available for the 2020 season. Go to frankhawley.com. They're coming to a track near you. It makes a great gift, and you know the holidays are coming, whether it be licensing for super comp, super gas, all the way up to top alcohol, they can do it. But if you're a drag racing fan and you've always imagined what it might be like to drive a dragster, to accelerate 0 to 60 in 3 seconds and run 10s in the quarter mile, give them a call. 866-480-7223, frankhawley.com, the Dragster Adventure, and tell them you heard it on WFO.
Hey, WFO Universe. Want something for free? Send a self-addressed stamped envelope with plenty of postage, and we'll load it up with free WFO stickers. That's right, I said free. Send your envelope, care of Castello Media /WFO stickers to P.O. Box 848353, Pembroke Pines, Florida 33084. Do it now.
This is WFO Radio.